and the public services are overrun. I'm just going to talk about Vegas here, with some of the mental health concerns. The other thing that's overwhelmed is the prisons. And so, there's no real outlets for people to go right now. So we need to shore up that. That's why I'm putting the emphasis on the new administration and their focused agenda about mental health. We all are going to need to get some kind of services so that we can right this ship. If we don't, it's going to be a long time for change to come.
So in the Black community, I know it's probably a stigma. Black people really don't get help. Why do you think that is?
Well, there are some mental health is taboo in the Black communities. We had this discussion before where a lot of us were raised with our crazy uncle who we just put in the back room, and just said, hey, don't mind him. We bring him out on holidays. So
I think everybody got one of those.
Yeah, Uncle Junior. Uncle Junior.
June bug.
Right, Uncle Junior. Yeah, right? Junior up there with them kids.
So there's a strong stigma associated with mental health problems in our community and those illnesses. As far as the men are concerned, there are issues related to culture, masculinity, socio-political environments that keep a lot of our Black men from tackling problems related to their mental health. And so it's important, and we were going to touch on this, and I'd certainly like to go into this at another time. I think we should bring this back to the fore because there is a big concern in our community about the need for African-American men to get some help for their mental health issues. I'm talking, it begins with our socialization. Black men, I would say men in particular in this country, were socialized to believe that they couldn't show any of the warm, fuzzy feelings, and when and if it comes up, I was thinking about how this applies to me. I could never really sit down with my wife and watch one of those tear jerkers. As soon as it start coming, I jump up and get angry and kick something, or that's when I was a little younger, and that's just poor socialization. We funnel everything that's a warm, fuzzy feeling through anger because that's what's accepted. And so with that comes a lot of issues, drug abuse, now suicide. Our younger African-American males has had an uptick in suicide, and we dealt with this in one of your other segments. And so it has intensified now. Black man who needs to take care of his family and now can't work because of the pandemic has closed down that shop. He's got a lot of issues going on and feelings that he's trying to deal with, but he has no one to talk to about that. Some of the reason is because there's no trust. I can't talk to somebody who's not like me, and maybe socioeconomically or culturally, they don't understand my struggle. And so from that perspective, a lot of folks don't get treatment. The other part is our field. We've gotten so used to one size fits all kinds of situations. I'll give you an example. The drug treatment centers of the 80s, the 70s and 80s, put into play 30 days of treatment and 12 weeks of outpatient. And the way that the approach was a 12-step program approach. Well, a lot of us weren't brought up that way. We were brought up in the church or the mosque. We were brought up differently. And so that approach, while it was being propagated in these treatment centers, didn't relate to a lot of us. It also didn't relate to adolescents. It didn't relate to women. AA was developed actually for white middle-aged men in 1935. And it just came down that people adopted that. And certainly it is working for people, but it had to be adjusted so that it fit into the cultural perspective that African Americans bring to the treatment centers. One other thing is the training of the therapists. Managed care came in this thing in 1988 and said that because there was no real outcome measurements that had been taken or kept, that they were going to manage the care. And so they broke down that 30 days that I talked to you about to 7 days, and then outpatient. So, and then the last part is parity, getting the mental health and substance abuse on par, resource-wise, as the physical, so that they could go ahead and offer more services in their continuum of care. So there's a lot of reason why we don't look towards mental health and drug abuse treatment as being something that can help us. There are some resources out here, folks, and certainly I want to share that with you, Mike, and maybe you could put it on the website. But one here, the Association of Black Psychologists, certainly was formed out of the need for us to be able to address some of the concerns that not only African American males have, but African Americans in our communities here in Las Vegas have. There are a lot of resources, Black Emotional and Mental Health Crisis. That's a hotline and a service where they actually come to you. So there's a lot of those kinds of services that have come out of some of the grants that have been given in the past when Obama was in office. I don't think it's dismal.
I do have a question. If someone don't want to come forth and ask for help, do you have any tools that they probably can use at home or anything of that nature?
Yes, certainly. The internet is full of that. I mean, you could just Google just tools for African Americans' mental health issues. That's one of the things that our listeners can do, and I strongly encourage it. There's also a book. It's easy to read. It's by a psychologist named Dr. Rita Walker. It's called The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health Services. Okay, that helps to streamline some of the ways that you can get in touch with treatment. Also, look for community services that I know one of the things that we have done is gone into the community and just offered free services around what to do, how to do how to get the treatment, how to recognize the need for treatment, how to recognize if you have a concern or an issue. So we're in the communities actually doing that. And we're taking advantage of all the media, especially the 88.1, because it kind of reaches out to the folks who need that kind of information. And certainly I'll give other information for folks here. One of the things that I have to say is it's hard for a lot of our African-American providers to specialize, and that's because of the way they're funded. You know, their funding says that they have to take everybody that comes in the door. And so from that perspective, you know, you can't be very specific in that in how you address some of the concerns. So I suggest that on Psychology Today, actually, there are African-American psychologists, counselors, and therapists all of us, and I belong to a group of therapists here in town, all of us are willing to give free care. Or at least consultation. So just go on, you can go through and you can see which one you want to talk to, and we'll go from there. And then I'll give my phone number and address.
Yes, please do.
My business.
Can you take a picture of your business card so I can put it on our website?
Sure.
For future information for everyone.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Means, we certainly appreciate all the information that you gave us today, because I know this is a subject that isn't going away, and I'm sure we haven't even begun the process of any type of healing right now. And so I'm sure that there are a lot of needs, particularly surrounding our mental health, that folks haven't even thought about. And I'm sure we didn't even scratch the surface this evening. So you're absolutely right. We'll have to have you back. So that we can really get into this and get some more of your thoughts, and you can describe some of the other symptoms and, just a lot of the other things that would at least help people to start to recognize that they may need to get some assistance, and also to encourage folks that if you need assistance, there's nothing wrong with getting help when you need it. I think there's a stigma attached to actually making the move to get help. So we need to cover all those things when we meet again. So again, just wanted to thank you for coming out and sharing your information, particularly on a night like this. And and of course, we always try to get good information for our listeners, and of course we want to make sure that we honor our contract too. We have to do this.
I was about to say, we out of compliance.
We have to make sure that we do this, regardless of the subject matter. And of course, we don't own the rights to this.
We don't own the rights to none of this. Nothing.
Just the theme song.
All Shannon.
We own that.
All Shannon.
That's right.
Her own privilege.
That's right. And you see how we are, Leonard. Shannon's the only one here with her own music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that tells you.
But yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back. I know we Beth laid plans were to have the discussions to talk about those things tonight, but the whole world decided it wanted to go crazy.
Well, one of the concerns I'm gonna have, and what I'm going to be looking out for, is how the rest of America begins to see and feel what we've been living through. It's going to be interesting. So I'm going to Mike. I'll send this information to you, and you can send it out or add it to the website.
Sure, be happy to.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And so we're gonna turn it over to Thinbad and Shannon. Let them close us out. And
yes, sir.
And again, thank you so much for coming out this evening and sharing your information with us. It was
Indeed
something that we really needed to talk about, and we'll be talking about later.
Yes, sir.
Not sure what you're doing in 2 weeks, but maybe we can pick this topic up again 2 weeks from now. I appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us for an hour. Everyone, our Facebook audience, our radio audience. We had a really good time with you guys tonight. We got a couple of questions still up in on our Facebooks, but maybe we'll get to them next week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to hit those because when the world sits still and stops going stone crazy. I mean, if they shut the man's Twitter account down, how about they get them damn nuke codes from his ass too?
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, how you gonna shut his Twitter account down and still give him clearance and classified clearance? How about we take all that? Let him tweet all he want, but don't give the country away.
Right.
He's got 2 weeks. We got to do something.
Man.
Shoot.
Right.
But yeah, appreciate you, Brother Means, with that information. We will definitely come back. I think it's something we're gonna have to come back to, often, because it's gonna take a minute, because it's something that folks are just now kind of coming to grips with, being able to kind of to do that, to kind of push their pride aside and to stick with the